Down, I am Iron Man. Down, no, 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 no. Welcome, guys. And the spotlight is on Mr. Iron Man himself, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. Now, I did a video on Chris Evans. Now, I told you guys I'm going to do it on Mr. Robert Downey Jr. And boy, has he had a career, and his personal life's been everywhere as well. We all know the story. Basically, he's the comeback kid. He's basically went from amazing actor to rehab to basically getting sober, getting that one role to get him back in the game, and he's been just flourishing. Moneymaker, you know. But I'm not talking about all other than he's the next Avenger we're going to be talking about. But I'm not just going to just talk about the Avengers. I'm going to talk about him personally, the movies I liked about him, and just basically where he came and where he's going to go. So let's talk. Let's talk Robert Downey Jr. right now. Robert Downey Jr., interesting story. He said that when he was a kid, when he was 6 years old, his dad was a drug addict. You know, he pretty much inherited a lot of the drug use and alcoholism from his father. And his father is a well-known director, Robert Downey Jr. Sr. Well, basically, the story is Robert Downey Jr., when he's 6 years old, his dad gave him a joint and, you know, let him smoke marijuana for the first time when he was 6 years old. So they would have smoking sessions from then throughout. So, and his dad came to say that was probably the wrong thing to do at the time. Yeah. So 6 years old, he's already taking a toke. That's Robert Downey Jr. for you. I mean, he's been addicted to a lot of stuff. You can name it. I mean, he's been arrested, you know, going to rehab how many times. Relationships were ruined because of his personality and what he did. But that didn't take away from the fact that he's a great actor. Maybe one of the greatest. It depends. I mean, if you consider one of the greatest to have a lot of range or not. Well, not necessarily range, but like could transform into different kind of characters. Robert Downey Jr. seems to be like the Denzel Washington, where Denzel Washington plays Denzel Washington, but we love the shit out of him. We still love Denzel Washington, whatever he does. If he's a good guy, fuck it. Man, he's amazing. If he's a bad guy, that's way more better. Training Day, everybody? Well, Robert Downey Jr. is the same way. Robert Downey Jr. plays Robert Downey Jr. all the time. And the reason I say that is because whenever he's in his movies, he has that quick wit. He could talk fast. He's smooth. That's why people say he's not playing Tony Stark. It seemed like Tony Stark was playing Robert Downey Jr. in the comics. And that's very, very, very true. Now, some of the films I really enjoyed Robert Downey Jr. in, and he was nominated for this film, and that was Chaplin. Chaplin, a story about Charlie Chaplin, and I thought it was good. You know, I thought it was really good. I mean, I didn't think it was overly amazing. It was somewhat boring a little bit. But Robert Downey Jr. was really good in that film. I can see why he got the Oscar nom. I'm not going to say he definitely didn't. I don't think he deserved to win it, but he was really good. That was one of his big breaks in first film. So, excuse me, Chaplin was one of the movies that really had him shining. But when I think of also other movies, we can also think of Zodiac. I mean, I just recently saw Zodiac and him in it. He was really good in there as well. He really played he really played himself, but a self-destructive self. So maybe he had some influence. But yeah, he was really great in that. He was in Gothica. Nobody gives a rat's ass about Gothica. One of the films, though, I really like him in, and I really liked his cast in, and that's Sherlock Holmes. The first Sherlock Holmes was great. I love Guy Ritchie as a director. I thought Robert Downey Jr. playing Sherlock Holmes, exactly. He's always, you know, when he was doing those inner monologues, it was great because he's always thinking, first, he's going to do a jab. I'm going to duck. I'm going to hit him. I mean, Sherlock Holmes became a badass, and Robert Downey Jr. in real life knows Wing Chun. That's how he got sober, doing Wing Chun and doing a lot of activities. Excuse me. So him doing his inner monologues when he was in that film, I really loved it, especially when it played in slow motion in the Sherlock Holmes game. And then, of course, his back and forth with Watson was amazing. The wittiness that Sherlock Holmes had. I always loved the scene where, I think my favorite scene is basically in that movie is when he's telling the girlfriend and, he doesn't really approve of her taking Watson away from him. She gets mad. She slaps him. Watson leaves. And then he's just all alone. He gets his napkin. It's very subtle, but you can see his eyes. I don't know why. I think that scene is just awesome. How Robert Downey Jr. played. He just plays it so cool. After getting slapped, I think he got water thrown on him too, and he's just just looking around like, yeah, I'm a dick. And sometimes I really think Robert Downey Jr. could be definitely an asshole, but you see him out in public, you see him in appearances, he seems like a down-to-earth guy. The other role that tells you he's a down-to-earth guy and he was Oscar nominated, which I cannot believe he was Oscar nominated, but I was so happy. I said yes, and that is, I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude. Tropic Thunder. That movie, when I first saw it, I didn't think it was that great, but it's such a rewatchable movie. Every time you watch it, you like it even more. And Robert Downey Jr. in that film was awesome. Playing a lot of controversies, playing a black dude, basically. He's blackfacing it. And I love how Always Sunny in Philadelphia came to that too, with the Lethal Weapon thing going on. Excuse me. Yeah, Tropic Thunder, what can I say? He was amazing. Oh yeah. Oh, just thinking about that movie is just hysterical. He just really went through it. He's like, oh, this motherfucker can't cry. He can't cry. You need to cry. You gotta let it out. He's just he definitely stole the show in that movie. He definitely he just brought out that fun. That I just didn't know how funny he was. He was funny in that. I guess. I mean, it's very controversial. Like I said, he plays blackface, but I just love how he gets called for. He's like, oh, what do you mean, you people? Robert Downey Jr. That film, that role was just like one of the best. That year was basically one of his best. He had Iron Man, then he had, Tropic Thunder. He was on a roll at that point. He was making money. And then recently he had The Judge, which I did enjoy The Judge, like I said in one of my reviews. I just think it was some things that need to be fixed, but he was good in The Judge as well. But all these roles that he was in and all these movies I'm talking about, he really kind of plays himself. He just kind of either has to dial it back or go forward or go out there. It depends on what role he gets. Now, I know I'm probably missing a lot of other Robert Downey Jr. Movies and stuff. I know he was in Ally McBeal, and then I know he was in another film. He was in he did some cameos as well. Weird Science, but Robert Downey Jr. personally, when you see him out in public, he seems like himself. He seems like the guy in the movies. He's witty. He knows how to have a conversation. He knows how to engage a person. He seems out there. It's really sad to see his son following kind of somewhat the same footsteps, now going to rehab. Getting I think he got caught with cocaine or something like that. But hey, it's. I mean, some people just like. I think they say sometimes they're inherited, like Robert Downey Jr. with his father, now with his son with Robert Downey Jr. But I think his son could pull through it if Robert Downey Jr. can. He's a beam of light. He really showed you that, hey, I screwed up. I know I screwed up. Let me show you that I still got it. And boy, did he show you. He's got to really thank Marvel and Jon Favreau. So hard to say. Jon Favreau especially. Marvel not necessarily. It was really Jon Favreau. And if you know Jon Favreau, he's the one that basically he was in Couples Retreat. Every time I say that, they remember him. Chef, Swingers. He's also the guy who directed Iron Man, and he really made a case for Robert Downey Jr. to be Iron Man. So Robert Downey Jr. really owes a lot to Jon Favreau. I mean, Jon Favreau really pushed for Robert Downey Jr. to be Iron Man, Tony Stark. Of course, Downey Jr. didn't get it right off the bat. He had the audition like everybody else, which he nailed. You'll see why. But Marvel still was hesitant because of his drug use and his past. But Robert Downey Jr. was able to become sober and really just stay true and not just keep going, really walk that fine line and say, hey, I sobered up. I know you guys, don't trust me, and it's rightfully so, but just give me this chance. And boy, did he get the chance, and he nailed Tony Stark. But not only him, but Jon Favreau made an amazing movie, and I think those two really that's how you got your Marvel Cinematic Universe rolling, because of these two stars. But you got to really give it to Jon Favreau to really give that role, to at least get Robert Downey Jr. in the audition room. Because when I think of Tony Stark before Robert Downey Jr., I thought of a Latino guy who's a rich guy, not an Antonio Banderas. Well, kind of like an Antonio Banderas. That's how I viewed Iron Man when I was growing up as a kid. Then Robert Downey Jr. stepping in. I didn't really think too much of it until I saw the movie. I was like, this guy is amazing. And of course, from there on, he started, you got Iron Man 2, you got the Avengers, you got that little side project, you got the Judge and stuff, his little movies. But the Judge didn't do too good. It's really, now he's known as, Tropic Thunder, now he's known as Iron Man. And you just really, this guy came from the bottom. Oh God, don't do the Drake. He really just basically, hey, he got a second chance, and he really took advantage of it. He's like one of the most paid actors in like cinematic history or whatever. He made $1 billion for Iron Man 3. Nobody went to go see that shit because of Iron Man. I think they went to go see it for Robert Downey Jr. And plus, it was coming off Avengers. But yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with Civil War. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be there. I think he's in it for 2 Avenger movies. This movie and then maybe the next one. I don't know how that contract issue. I remember it was like one more Avenger movie, or at least 2 films at least. I don't think they're going to do an Iron Man 4 at this point. They don't really need an Iron Man 4, honestly. Iron Man 3 was Iron Man 3. But Robert Downey Jr., man, just want to talk a little bit about him. The spotlight's on you, buddy. He hopefully he stays, It's always a battle. It's always a battle to stay sober, and hopefully he stays sober. Just because he has so much success and he's the comeback kid doesn't mean he can't fall again. That's the story. That's really what's the cliche of storytelling when it comes to real life, when people, are addicted to a lot of substance abuse. So hopefully he doesn't, go back to that. He just he's married to one of the producers, I believe, of one of his movies. They just had a daughter. Of course, he's divorced. He had 2 wives, but now he's on his second wife. Now he has a daughter. His son's getting help, but that doesn't. He needs to just stay on the path as well and not, succumb to temptation. So hopefully he still, makes movies. He still does his thing. Hopefully hopefully he just pretty much lives a good life, and hopefully he's happy and his family's happy. We're happy for Robert Downey Jr. We're happy that we got Iron Man. Hopefully he makes more Iron Man movies. I think he doesn't necessarily have to be in an action role, maybe just a mentor role. Whoever takes, the mantle from Robert Downey Jr. to be Iron Man, because it ain't going to be Tony Stark. I think nowadays, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Tony Stark is freaking Robert Downey Jr. You just don't see anybody else playing those roles. So thank you guys for listening. That's my spotlight on Mr. Robert Downey Jr., aka Tony Stark, or Tony Stark, aka Robert Downey Jr. Excuse me. Let me know what kind of what movie you enjoyed with Robert Downey Jr. in it, and how do you feel about him personally? Because you know what, Robert Downey Jr., just because he plays somebody in the cinema, in the theater, up in the big screen, his life itself is that of a movie. He's been through his ups and downs. He's triumphed. Now he must continue to walk the fine line between basically staying sober and moving on and just having a more brighter future ahead of him. Because you know what? Like I said, when you're a substance abuser, it always stays with you. But so far, Robert Downey Jr. is kicking its ass. So, Robert Downey Jr., spotlight's on you. Thank you guys for listening. Please like, please subscribe. Next, I will be talking about, well, next up, who would you want me to talk about? Samuel Jackson, Scarlett Johansson? I think I'll go Scarlett Johansson because Scarlett Johansson is on a fucking roll. I said it, fucking roll. So, see you guys.